Have you achieved your financial goals through career so far? Why or why not? Question number 2. What is the one thing that makes one real estate agent more successful than another? Question number 3. Why don't all agents do this? And question number 4. If your desire to succeed, is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful? So go ahead and write some answers down. Think about these questions, and then let's have some dialogue around that.
Could you repeat those real quick, because I don't have a manual and I was writing your questions down.
No problem. Question number 1, have you achieved your financial goals through your career so far? Why or why not? Question number 2, what is the one thing that makes one real estate agent more successful than another? Question 3, then why don't all agents do this? Question number 4, is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that makes you successful?
Thank you.
You got it. Okay, answer the question. Somebody would like to speak up. Have you achieved your financial goals? Or have you not? And if you have, why or why not? Anybody want to share their thoughts around that? Okay, the next one is, what is the one thing that makes one real estate agent more successful than another? That should be an easy answer. Anyone have a guess?
Their drive to want to do it. Their postings, learning. Because I know for me, I have a fallback and I go, well, I don't really need to do this. Or, well, I do have a couple of clients right now, but I don't have to. We're a 2-income household, so it kind of slows me down and I'm not as aggressive. And I know that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anybody else have an answer? How about lead generation daily? Do you think that could hold somebody back? Mm-hmm. Not willing to commit to lead generation or commit to it daily. Okay. And why do you think people resist that? Why do you think people resist lead generation?
I think, especially when you're a new agent, you work so hard trying to talk to people. They don't answer the phone. They won't talk to you. They hang up on you. And I think it can be discouraging until you just keep going. So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I get that. Mindset over matter. You know, sometimes it's about, you can, you do it, and we're in a society, quite frankly, if you think about it, that we are used to instant gratification. That we want something, we can go get it. We've got the internet full of answers to every question we have, just like that. We're walking around with our little miniature computers in our hands all the time. So we're used to instant information, instant answers, instant everything. But lead generation isn't instant. Lead generation is time over task and continually doing it, or finding the time to do it and learning how to discipline yourself to be able to do that. Um, I was sharing this with somebody recently that you can always tell when somebody masters lead generation on a steady, consistent basis because their business starts climbing with little gaps as they go. It's never a straight shot. But those that resist lead generation usually have a roller coaster ride of success. And so our goal is to help you learn lead generation on a higher level so that you can have continuously good growth in your business. So lead generation, coming to at peace with that and coming to terms with that, I believe is one of the one thing, I think there was a book written about that anyway, the one thing that you can do in order to help you catapult your business to a higher level. And so is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful? And that's a personal question, a personal answer there for each of you. No right or wrong, but there will be times in your career that you're going to resist things, that you're going to fight things, that you're going to limit yourself to it. But if your desire to succeed is strong enough and high enough, it helps you get past the other side. So we're on page 8. If you have your manual in front of it, and it's called You're in Business. Page 8, You're in Business. The one thing that can propel you forward in your career, and what is the one thing that can propel you forward in your career? And the answer is lead generation. So obviously we're going to be talking about that today. And I want you to remember one thing, that being in real estate and having a career in real estate is making a decision that you're going to treat it like a business. This isn't a hobby. Those that treat it like a hobby will have more struggles than those that treat it like a business. And that's a decision that you can make. When I started the business in 1994, we were taught back then that real estate is you get your business cards, you hold open houses, and you wait for the phone to ring. Some of us would even put ads in newspapers. Some of us would send out postcards and sit there and write something on each and every one of them, and wait for the phone to ring. And in Keller Williams and the way we do business today, we're encouraging people to not wait for business to find you, but to go find the business. And that's called lead generation. So treating this like a business, getting your mind around that, learning to focus on the things that will help you catapult your business is going to help you grow a strong, healthy business. We have a course, this is page 9 through 13, called the 6 Personal Perspectives. And what I'm going to do right now is to break each one of these down, and we're going to talk about them. And we're going to share this is the roadmap to success. The 6 Personal Perspectives is a roadmap to success. And we actually have a course that we can teach on this that takes a lot longer than the 10 or 15 minutes I'm going to spend on it with you today. It's a matter of the 3 circles that overlap is the mindset, with your attitude and your approach and how you handle life, how you handle business, and how you handle everything. Let's go to the first one, which is self-mastery. Self-mastery, good about systems. Good if the instructor had a great system here. Self-mastery. Self-mastery is the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make you a master of you. Self-mastery is when you commit to achieve self-mastery, you know your goals. You're really clear on them. There's no question what they are. Somebody asks you what your goals are, boom, boom, you got it, and you can say it and you can share it. It's understanding and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. If we know what our strengths are, we really know what they are, you can build your business different than somebody who has a different set of strengths. And it's learning how to customize your business for you through self-mastery. Know how to work with both your strengths and your weaknesses to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. So self-mastery is a commitment. It's a commitment that you are going to learn how you personally operate and how your weaknesses can play into your strengths and how your strengths can overcome your weaknesses. And let me say that again. It's understanding how your weaknesses will play into your business and how your strengths can be used to overcome those weaknesses. I don't know if any of you have read or taken the course or the class or the test called Strength Finders. Has anyone done that? Okay, I see a couple heads shaking there. Tell me about that. What did you learn about Strength Finders? Do we have any woos in the room? Strength Finders is a great book. There's a test on the back of it that comes with it. And once you take the test, it shows you what your strengths are, and it clearly shares with you what your weaknesses are. So that's a great book to get if you're wanting to understand these things. So throughout the Ignite class, you will be acquiring your skills and developing habits to be successful. And so you will be moving towards self-mastery. The second one is the 80-20 principle. And to me, the 80-20 principle is probably one of the most powerful ones of all of this, because it's understanding how to focus on the things that will bring you success versus shooting out there anything and everything to be successful. This will help you understand where your time is the most powerful, where you can develop your skill sets to be the best you can be. An 80-20 principle. The 80-20 principle is the idea that 20% of your actions will lead to 80% of your results. And maybe and it's about getting the most from your time and your effort. It's about maximizing your results. It's about getting focus. The 80-20, here's some examples. I mean, this rule, this law, whatever you want to call it, about 80-20 can be applied to about everything in your world. If you think about it, as an example, let's think about your closet. You will, 80% of the time, you will wear about 20% of the things that are in your closet. Think about your home. You will spend 80% of your time in 20% of your home. They say that 20% of the students get 80% grade, the grade of 80% or higher. If you look at real estate, 20% of the realtors in your market area will do 80% of the results. When I think about the market centers that I'm in relationship with today, and that would be Keller Williams Experience in Murray and Paducah, Keller Williams Louisville East, Keller Williams Heartland. Those three in particular, I spent a lot of time with, and when I look at their numbers and I study them, I'm going to tell you that plays out, that about 20% of the realtors get 80% of the business. So the mere fact that you're in Ignite tells me you want a bigger piece of that pie. So let's keep digging into that. The next one is the E to P. And I think this is the one that many of us struggle with. And when I was coaching, I would hear a lot of people struggle. I can't do this. I'm having a hard time getting this to happen. And that's the E to P, going from entrepreneurial to being purposeful. High achievers are always looking for purposeful ways. By doing this, they will break through the ceiling of the natural habit. We all have our natural habits. This is the way we've done it. This is what comes natural to me. This is what I normally will do. This is what I gravitate, which is our natural skill sets. Being purposeful means learning how to do things better or different so that you can get a better level of results. An example of that would be mastering, and we're going to spend some time on this today, is learning different scripts and role plays. That's learning how to be purposeful to utilize your time to the best way possible. You can attain certain levels of success utilizing your natural abilities, but once you hit that ceiling and you can't break through, you either bounce back down and stay where you are. But if you want to catapult to a different level, it's learning how to push through. And pushing through to the other side means learning how to do things differently or better or more purposeful. Does anybody follow me on that? Anyone want to speak up and say something around that? Ignite is not only designed to help you start your business, it's designed to help you grow your business. Ignite will help you move from entrepreneurial to purposeful with self-mastery. The fourth one is learning based. It's the foundation of your action plan. And I find every successful person I've ever met, known, talked to in real estate, which is where 80% of my time is spent, you're going to find that the ones that achieve the most are the ones that are learning based. And what's cool about this is that we have, I don't know how many people are on this call right now, but we have a lot of people in the room right now that are learning based. You're here to learn. You're here not to validate that what you've been doing is the right way. You're here to learn how to do things differently. So always be learning based as you continue to move through your real estate career. The next one is accountability. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped that limiting beliefs. Sorry about that. Limiting beliefs, removing limiting beliefs. High achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. I think a lot of people have limiting beliefs when they hear that statement about limiting beliefs, quite frankly. High achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. In order to successfully develop a higher level of business, you will need to clear your mind of limiting beliefs. That's in bold, we talk about the little drunk monkey, and the drunk monkey sitting there on your shoulder, this imaginary drunk monkey sitting on your shoulder saying, you can't do that. That can't be done. You're not going to have a quality of life. You're going to spend all your weekends selling real estate. You're never going to be able to do this, and you can't do that. And the reality is, it's just a belief system that you choose to buy into, or you choose to challenge, or you choose to do differently and think differently. For an example, you may have thoughts that said that, well, the ones I just mentioned are examples of how people will limit themselves. And I oftentimes will start coaching with real estate agents by asking them to get the MREA book out. Sue Ann, does this sound familiar? And read the chapters on the myth. And the myths that Gary writes about in the MREA book in the first few chapters, or the first chapter or so, is helping you understand that the way we've always thought about isn't the way it needs to be. And I always like to think about it as if there's somebody else out there that's done it, why can't I? If somebody else can do it, why can't you? And it's just a matter of adopting and looking at things differently, developing newer habits, and understanding how to move past that. So if you were to, I'm going to pass through this here a little bit. Here's some statements that they have for you. And when it comes to challenging some limiting beliefs, some people will say, I'm new at this. Some of you in this room right now are new at this. And so you think that you have to be an expert first in order to actually be able to go out and be successful. Expertise will come from doing. Expertise will always come from doing. This training will help you throughout Ignite, will help you prepare for a real estate career so that you can become the expert. We're never born an expert. We never started anything and become an expert. It's accumulation of all the experiences that you have. When I set and track my goals and complete activities that required to meet, you will fund the life and the career that you want. And if you're consistent in your activities, it's not a run and gun, stop and play, run and gun, stop and play. It's a consistent, ongoing tackling and coming after your business that will get you consistent, ongoing growth in your business. So it's a matter of letting go of some of your limiting beliefs in order to harness this new opportunity. The next one is be accountable. Self-admitted, one of the hardest ones I had to tackle. And I think it's one that many of us struggle with. We feel like having to be accountable, we lose our freedom. And honestly, this is a business where I think a lot of people come into it that are entrepreneurial in mindset. And so their brains are always thinking about ideas and ways of doing things differently and better. And they resist sitting down and talking about accountability. But accountability is the measurements of how to find out if you're heading in the right direction. It's also the measurements that you can track and find where your weaknesses are. I mean, imagine if you're, imagine a pro sport. Once upon a time, there were pro sports. Long before the COVID thing, there were pro sports. But imagine on the sidelines if the coach or if no one tracked numbers. Let's think about football as an example. No one tracked numbers. No one tracked. They just told the guys to go out there and play and do the best you can. And they didn't study plays and they didn't study statistics, and they just let it happen. What are the odds of success for a team that comes to the field like that versus a team that comes to the field practiced, prepared, and ready to play, and know their numbers and know their statistics and know which player has a better odds of being good in that play versus somebody else? I mean, can you picture that in your mind about how important it is to be successful and understanding these things? So an accountability is a tool that will help you change the results that you're going to get. And Ignite, in this Ignite class, we're going to be giving you some tools and some things to help you with your accountability. Anybody, I'm going to stop right there for a second. Does anybody have any questions? It's a great time to take a break and share what you thought. Give me some ahas back. I'd rather this not be a lecture. I would love for you to share some of the things that you're thinking. Did any of that strike home and touch you in any way, shape, or form?
Linda, I think the consistency part is huge with me because probably like everybody else, I'm going 1,000 miles a minute, trying to do everything, trying to take care of my son, trying to, just move forward as a mama, as a business leader. And consistency is ringing a bell with me. So I like that one.
Yeah. Aaron,
I would say consistency is also doing that for me. Like when I played basketball, that was like my number one thing, like practicing, you have to like stay consistent with it. And it's something I'm learning with this is just my 4th weekend. So I'm still learning to, get that diligency in the morning and like kind of have like the incremented time and whatnot. So I agree with you on that one.
Oh, good. If you're new to the business, starting a class like Ignite and committing to do the whole thing, I contend if you look at that 80-20 rule, probably about 20% of you will actually do all of Ignite and get to the very end of it. And it's a commitment that you need to make. And through that commitment, you will learn consistency. You will learn how to practice. You will practice in a safe place, because I know Krista's on the call here, and she is going to be doing some role playing with you all throughout the entire Ignite session. And these will help you sharpen your skills before you get out in front of clients. Does that make sense? So I'm glad to hear you say that. Anyone else? One more, then we'll move on.
I especially appreciate what you said about run and stop, because I think I tend to do that. And it's something that I'm trying to work out of my system, because I run hard and then I stop and like lay down in the grass is what it feels like until I can catch a breather. So the consistency is something I'm going to be working on. And it's easy for me to say that when I'm at a little bit of a lull, but when I'm in the middle of things and I'm going pedal to the metal, the consistency just goes, that's when it goes out the window, because I'm running around trying to take care of the deals that I have going. And, obviously the lead generation is what flies out the door. So anyway,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear you confess that. You know, I also don't want you to get a misconception about consistency means that your business will, you will always, your activities, everything will always be even throughout your career. It's not. You're going to have times like that, Sue Ann, where you're going to be running and gunning, and you make hay while you can. And I get that. And that's, we would never discourage you from doing that. But I am going to encourage you during that lull that you talked about, that you use that time to put into place some of the systems and models so that when you are running and gunning, that you're not dropping balls or you're not missing opportunities, or that lead generation can still happen. Somebody wise once shared with me that for everything you say yes to, you have to say no to something, and everything you say no to gives you an opportunity to say yes to something. And so always keep that in mind, that when you're giving up the things that will help you be successful, you're giving up the opportunity to grow, to learn, and build a strong, solid business. My dream and goal for each of you is that you build a real estate career that will grow over time versus being something that you run and gun at and stop and run and gun at and stop, that you consistently build on it on a steady basis. Darren Hardy wrote a book called The Compound Effect. Gary Keller wrote a book called The One Thing. And in The One Thing, he talks about how we consistently build our business. He talks about, you'll see the example in the book if you've seen it, where he has a domino. And if you knock over if you put a great big domino and a little bitty domino next to it, and that little bitty domino knocks over and tries to knock over the big domino, meaning big business, big life, funding, big things, it's not going to happen. But if you put a whole row of dominoes and you knock one over, which knocks another one over, eventually you're going to get to the point where you can knock them all over. It's that consistency and the momentum that you get, that you build on things. And that's my dream for each of you, that you learn how to consistently build a business that, as Gary Keller says it, it's to have a career, life worth living, career worth, I'm probably saying this backwards, but career worth having, business worth owning, and life worth living. Because the goal of having big goals, big financial goals, is to fund a big life. Big goals, big financial goals funds a big life. And without the big life, there's no point in all the rest of it. Does that make sense? Does that ring home to anybody? Okay, moving on. You're gonna, to get the most out of Ignite, there's some things I want to share with you back in your manual, and I'm sure that Amy's going to put that in the chat line on how to get to this. There's going to be daily activities that you're going to need to do, and we're going to touch on that as we get through the program today. To get the most out of this, I want you to make sure you commit to those activities. Some of it's going to seem kind of awkward if you're new to the business. Some of it's going to seem, if you're new to the business, some of it is going to be, it's designed to challenge you, and just know that. The ground rules are, when we get on these classes, we will start on time. We started about 5 minutes late today because this was the first day when everybody was trying to get on, but the classes will start on time, and you're going to have homework. The expectation is that you get your homework done. There will be role playing along the way. The expectation is that you will participate in the role play. We have a whole thing in your manual about being a prisoner of vacation or an explorer. And the prisoner is the one who doesn't get engaged and doesn't participate. So I'm going to be stopping from time to time and encourage you to speak up and learn. We all learn from each other. The more we all talk, the better off we all are. Okay, any questions around that? Amy, are you listening?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you like to address this about these videos and so forth?
Um, So my first question is everyone here a member of Keller Williams? I guess if there is anyone that's not, please put your email in the chat. These are videos that you have links to through the drive and through the manual that are good examples for you to watch and good information. And so when she mentions a homework, what we're hoping that you'll do is you'll take a few minutes to watch those. And again, if there's anyone who does not have access to mykw.kw.com, just please reach out to me through the chat or through email, and I'll make sure that you still have access to those videos.
Thank you, Amy. Any questions, any thoughts? Ready to dig in a little deeper? Let's start with the big why on page 19. When I say the big why, what comes to mind? What are you thinking when we talk about some understanding and knowing what your big why is? Why is that important? Okay, your big why is what drives you. And what drives you is not only your mindset and your attitude, but it's also about what you're passionate about. It's helping you get in touch. The thing that is considered your big why is what steers your soul. It's why you are in business. It's what do you hope to achieve for yourself and for your family. To think about what your big why is the thing that drives you and pushes you forward. You're going to have days that are like really great days, and then you're going to have days that are kind of tough days where you want to sit down, as Sue Ann talked about, lay over in the grass a little bit. Those are the days when you have to stop and think about, no, why am I doing this? What is this all about? What is my big why? Anyone can achieve goals that are set in this course, but not everyone will. The journey is required to be disciplined and committed to follow models and systems and schedule that you schedule every single day. It requires passion, and the passion sometimes is bigger than, it can be bigger than what you even can think it could be right now here today. And the longer you're developing and growing and a learning base and moving forward, the bigger this big why can get. So let's talk a little bit about exploring what your big why is. And so at this point in time, I want you to, if you've got a piece of paper, I'm going to ask you some questions, and then I want you to write down the first thing that comes to mind. Don't write down, no one's going to look at this. No one's going to see what you're writing, obviously, and you're not going to be asked to share unless you want to. And I don't want you to overthink this. What I want you to do is to write the first thing, the very first thing that comes to mind. Got it? Okay. To have financial freedom is tied directly to your efforts and your salary. So in your mind, what is the dream income you would like to have? Just go ahead and write it down. The income that you would like to have in the next 12 months in real estate. What income do you want to have in the next 12 months in real estate? If you accomplished that goal, that dream, write down 3 things that you can do as a result of that. Is it a family vacation? A new car? What are the first three things you would do once you accomplish that goal? And who, the next one is the who in your life, who in your world will benefit from you accomplishing that goal, that dream? Can I assume that everybody's sitting somewhere and they're not driving? Is there anybody on this call that's driving? I think there was one that said they were going to be driving. So if you're driving, stay muted and don't do this exercise. Just imagine it. The rest of you, I want you to write down in front of you the date, June 15th, 2022. And I want you to, what we're going to do is a little exercise here. And what I want you to do is you're going to close your eyes and you're going to go in the world of imagination inside of your brain there. And I want you to imagine a few things as I go through this. So first thing I want you to do is take a deep breath, like in and out, like 3 times, just like in and out 3 times. In and out. So your eyes are closed. It's June 15th, and you're reminiscing about this past year. And you're going to be thinking of sharing with the person that you care the most about in your life some of the things that you have done. And so the first one is your business is thriving and your life is everything you dreamed it would be. So in your mind, I want you to share that with somebody that you love and you care the most about, what that's like. Your customers rave about the experience and the value you provide, and they think of you whenever they think of their real estate needs. I want you to think about what that feels like, that you're the first person they call. You're the person they think about when they think of real estate. Your family, your friends are so proud of your success, and they consistently refer business to you. You're helping others live their dreams of owning homes because you're so focused on helping them get what they desire, what they need, what they want. You're building the foundation and the momentum for your entire career. And you're gaining relationships and experiences and the income you desire. It's the year end and your company is recognizing people for their success, and you have been recognized as one of the top in the company. You might even be the rookie of the year. And your business has grown so much. Think about actually hiring your own part-time assistant or maybe even a full. You are on the path to build a career worth having, a business worth owning, and a life worth living. That's you. That's what you've done. So you can slowly open your eyes, and I want you to think about, just like ponder that, or as my granddaddy would say, marinate on that for a minute and think about, what did that feel like? What did that feel like? Did it feel good? Was there some joy? Was there some excitement about what you were experiencing? You can shake your head, you can share, you can talk if you'd like. So I want you to tap into that feeling that you had when we were going through that exercise. And like, did you feel it in your heart? Did your heartbeat pick up a little bit? I want you to tap into that feeling. And I don't want you to forget it. I want you to hang on to that feeling, because as you go through your career, there's going to be times when you're going to question, why am I doing this? There can be times when you get frustrated. And when you do, I want you to remember that exercise, and I want you to remember the feelings you were having around that. to me, that's one of the greatest purposes and reasons of being in this business, is being able to fund the life you want, being able to have joy and pleasure in what you do. Some people are motivated by the recognition. Some people are motivated by the money. Some people are motivated by what it can do for others. Some people are motivated for all kinds of reasons, to help their kids or their children or their family. So whatever it is, does that for you? You got to recognize. Excuse me? Is somebody speaking up?
It was someone joining in. I think they were just in the car, but they're,
Gotcha.
they're
Gotcha.
muted, and you're free to unmute if you have something to add.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So anybody want to share anything before we move on about what that meant to them? Just one person, and then we'll move on.
Linda, I think it feels like it's right. If that makes any kind of sense, it's just right. It's the right thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. It's exactly right. It's exactly where I need to be.
Great. So and never lose that feeling. Anybody else? One more? A lot.
I thought I just felt a sense of relief, like I, achieve something or have a plan to achieve something, and it was just kind of a relief thinking that that feeling could be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress involved, especially when you start something new or you want to do it differently. There's a lot of stress around that. And knowing that you got to the other side and you actually can and feel the relief of that you actually did it. I mean, that's freedom. That feels like being free or freedom. Okay, so we're going to go to, if you have your manual in front of you, if not, then just a sheet of paper, and we're going to keep on moving. We're going to go to the big why. We kind of explored that with that exercise a little bit, because the big why without passion behind it, yeah, it's a goal. It becomes a goal. And the thing is that we want it to be more than a goal. We want it to be your big why. We want it to be the thing that empowers you to get past the awkwardness, or to get past the things that we resist, or get past our limiting beliefs. So what drives you is not only your mindset, but it's about the things that you're passionate about. It's about the things that what steers your soul and why you are in business, and what do you hope to achieve for yourself and your family. So if you can answer those questions about your big why that I just mentioned, you're light years ahead of those that don't even think about it. And I want you to after today, I want you to ponder this, or like I said, as my granddaddy would say, marinate on that and think that through. And I will tell you, throughout life, it changes. When I think about when I started real estate, my big why then was different than my big why today. And it's always going to be changing as you evolve and as you go through things. To achieve success, you need motivation and you need inspiration. And for doing it, it becomes your big why. Okay. See, my pages got a little mixed up. So here's your turn. I'm going to ask you some questions and I want you to write these down. First question is 4 questions. I'm going to read them one at a time and let you answer them one at a time as we go through here. So take a few minutes as we go through this. The first question is this: what is your driving motivation? What is your why or goal for your career in real estate? Let me repeat that. What is your driving motivation? What is the why or the goal for your career in real estate? The next one is, what will achieving your goal mean for you? What will achieving your goal mean for you? And in what ways will this change your life? In what ways will this change your life? And what doors will that open for you? I'm going to go through them one more time and give you a chance, because these answers that you put will take us to the next exercise. So what is your driving motivation, the why or the goal for your career in real estate? And what will achieving your goal mean for you? In what ways will your life change because of that? And what doors will open for you? Everybody got it? You can shake your head. Got it? Okay. The next one is based on what you just wrote. This one I'm actually going to let you ask you to take a few minutes to think through this, because this is going to be like your big why statement. This is going to be like if somebody were to say, well, why are you doing this? This is going to be the statement. This defines the big why for you, because I want you to get serious about this next one. Based on your answers from the previous 4 questions that I asked you, I want you to write a statement that summarizes your big why. You with me on that one? Take the questions, the answers you gave to the last, and make a statement. And the statement starts with your name, like I'm Lucy, and my big why is. I'm actually going to give you about 5 minutes to do that. Okay. Raise your hand if you need more time. Amy, I can't see everybody, so if anybody needs more time, will you just tell me?
Yes, I can't see everyone either. There's only a couple of faces. It looks like we're good to go.
Okay, great. Okay, so for those that finished that exercise, I want you to get out your phone, and I want you to take a picture of that big why statement. Got it? Now, what would encourage you to do with that photo is to make it your background on your phone for a while, so that we can always stay focused on the why we're doing what we're doing. So if you don't mind, just go ahead and do that. So let me ask you a couple of questions, and this is where we're going to participate as we go along. So this is what we're going to participate as we go along. I would love for you to share with me. So based on what you wrote down, and it's personal, you don't have to share that, but I want you to share this. What could get in your way? What do you think could happen that could stop you from achieving what you've set out to do? Let's get about 3 answers on that one.
Personally, I feel like it's my mindset. I can tend to be my worst critic or enemy in mind. So just kind of redirecting my thoughts and focusing on the focus, I guess.
Yeah. Focus is critical. One more, 2 more. What could get in your way?
Linda, if it's okay, I'll speak up. I haven't been on the sales side for a little while, but with all those years of experience there, I know my biggest hurdle was what we kind of touched on earlier about so much coming at us. And you taught me years and years ago to not be reactive, to be proactive. And so really, the challenge there is to focus our intentionality on what we really want to accomplish in the day, rather than just batting things away from us as it comes at us.
Yeah, I think that is, well, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, I got to tell you, no matter where you are in your career, whether you're just now starting, whether you've been in it forever, whether you're in sales or you're in leadership, it's constantly shifting and changing. The big why that you wrote down, generically going to stay the same, but it may take it may look differently. If you don't mind my sharing, my big why has always been about having a bigger life so that I can help other people have a bigger life. There's some gratitude and some satisfaction and joy around knowing that you've touched someone else and helped make their life bigger. You feel like your impact on this earth and this world meant something. So I love helping other people develop a belief system that helps them have bigger and better lives. And so my big why is that. Now, it will always be that to some way, but it may play out in different ways. Like it used to be in helping people buy homes or to get their first home and the joy you see in their lives there. And now it's becoming to my big why is helping people like in market centers that I'm participating or involved in and helping them grow and build their business in a healthy way. So your big why, the purpose of explaining that was your big why is what brings you joy. It's what brings you passion. It's what brings you excitement. That's your big why. And if you're always satisfying that big why, it will help you develop your skill sets in the career or in the world you're in to accomplish that big why. Does that make sense? You can shake your head no if it doesn't, it's okay. But that's it. So preventing me from doing that, for me personally, preventing me from doing that is getting caught up in things that distract me from that, like drama or other things that could go on in your world around you that distract you from the things that bring you passion and joy. and staying in touch with that helps us accomplish our goals. Okay, next one we're going to go to is monetary goals. So if you have your manual, you're at page 23. If you don't, we're going to do a little calculations here. And this could take us about 5-10 minutes to go through this. So the first question is this: we talked about this a little bit earlier. So what is your monetary goal for your annual monetary goal? We're about halfway through. So let's even think about the next 6 months. If you just want to do that, what do you want the next 6 months to be your monetary goal for the rest of the year? So you can write down a number that you would like your monetary goal to be. Okay, the next one is we're going to figure out your GCI, your gross commission income. So that's a couple ways of looking at that. If you're experienced in the business, you already know what your average home sale, that would be what you would go with. If you're new to the business, you might want to write down the average home prices in the area. If you're in Louisville, you might write down the number 200, like 200,000. Write down a number that you believe to be where you will be. Like if you're first-time home buyers, you might not even be at the 200,000 mark, but write down a number, average sales price of the homes that you believe you will be selling for the rest of the year. Got that? So let's say it's 200. Here's an example. If it's 200,000, then it's 200,000, and the average commission is based on 3%. So it's 200,000 times 3%. And so the gross commission income on a $200,000 house would be 6,000. So 200,000 times 3% is 6,000. You got me? So then you would take your goal, your financial goal, and divide that by 6,000, and that tells you how many units you would need to sell. So let's take a few minutes for each of you to do that. Anybody need help with that? So you're going to take your average sales price, multiply that by 3%, and that will give you the commission, how many units, that will give you your average commission price amount. Then you take your average commission account amount, and we're going to add a step in here. We're going to talk about your cost of doing business. We're going to talk about your cap. So whatever your cap is, including your royalty, and come up with a number. You're going to add that to the top of the amount of money that you need. So let's say, as an example, you wrote down 100,000. So add 100,000 plus whatever your cap is. Let's say it's 20 plus 3, so that might be 23,000. So you need $123,000, and divide that by how many commission amount, your average price, and that tells you the units that you actually need. I kind of went backwards on that one for you. Hope I didn't confuse you. Is anybody with me? Does anybody have a number they want to share? How many units they have to sell? Okay, so in this case in the book, the example that they gave, the person wanted to make 100,000. Their company cap was 23. The two together was 123. The average commission they sold was 6,000. And so they had to sell 21 units in order to accomplish that. So take a few minutes. Let's take about 3 minutes for you all to finish that little exercise for yourself. Ready, set, go. All righty. Everybody got a number? Yes, no, yes. Okay. Skill set number 2, commitment to your daily lead generation. That famous topic we love to spend time on. So now that you know what your big why is, and now that you have an idea about what your financial goals are, how do we go about accomplishing that? Remember, you're not just in real estate as a hobby, you're in real estate because this is your business, this is your career, and we're always going to treat it like a business. And so we have to have a plan and a system around that. So real estate is about your job part of real estate is the lead generation. And yet I find that's the one thing that most people resist. So if the example in the book, they said if real estate were a factory, if you ran a factory, you'd know exactly how long it would take to make whatever it is that factory is making. So why would we not know that in real estate? How many hours of lead generation time do we need to commit to in order to accomplish that financial goal that you just set? And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to get off script here and share a little something with you. I thought the thing I wanted to share with you is that everyone in this room, everyone taking this class would probably have a different number that they need to accomplish in order to do the exact same thing. Some of you have a higher skill set than others. Some of you are new, and the newer ones will take longer to accomplish the same thing that somebody's more experienced at. And the more experience, I mean, the more experience is because they've had opportunity to develop their skill set. Our expertise comes with practice and exercising. And I'm going to tell you those that will practice and those that will do role play and script practicing and learning scripts, your focus is so minute. I mean, is so much better that it won't take nearly as much time to accomplish the same thing. Are you with me on that one? Do you get where I'm going? So if we had somebody that resist role playing and resist script practicing, that's probably going to take them longer to get appointments than those that are willing to commit to learn to those things. And so I really wanted to drive that home with you because so many people will fight this. It depends on what book you read or what you're going at. Gary Keller in The One Thing talks about 66-day challenge. He says it takes 66 days to develop a habit. We have a tendency to try things 1, 2, 3, 4 times, don't get the results we want, so we quit. And I believe so oftentimes success is just on the other side of the last no that you gave yourself. It's always just right there. So oftentimes people quit when they're so close. It's that going from E to P. It's that getting out of entrepreneurial and actually committing to learning a better skill set and committing to be consistent and committing to set the goals and accomplish them every day. And that's why we drive that home in Ignite. And you're going to hear this over and over and over in Ignite about the consistency of driving this home. So I'm going to challenge you over the next throughout Ignite to develop new habits that honestly, after Ignite's over, you're going to stop and think, okay, I'm done. That class is over. But it's what you learn and what you take with you and you continue to do will get you to where you want to go quicker, sooner, faster. With me on that one? Any thoughts around that? Okay. Some of the more experienced agents on the call, if I were to ask this question, how long once you start working with somebody that they actually go to the closing table? How long does it take in the world of real estate when you start working with somebody till we actually get to the closing table? Anybody want to guess? Would the word 90 days mean anything to you? We calculate most things on 90 days because what we do today, we probably will get a result in 90 days out. It takes a while to find the house, you got to get it to the closing table, go through the process. So everything you do today in the world of lead generation and growing and you're building your business, you should get a result 90 days out. So we're mid-June, that's July, August, September. So you're really working on results for September right now. And if you're in a seasonality, you're already close to, I mean, like it's June 15th, you're already close to the end of summer transactions, meaning most people that you start working with today will close in the fall. And then July, that will be October. So be thinking about that. And I've often had this quote that when you set a time, an appointment to lead generate, you're actually setting an appointment with your future. And so keep that in mind when you want to, I'd rather go do something else. This is what you're taking time away from. We're going to go to page 29. About halfway through, and we got a whole lot more to cover here. So page 29 is the lead generation funnel. It would be awesome if it wasn't a funnel. Wouldn't it be awesome if it was just a pipe? Everything you start, you actually get to finish. But in the world of real estate, that just doesn't really happen. Leads aren't always hot leads ready to go today. Oftentimes they need to be nurtured and developed over time. And sometimes they fall out of the pipeline for whatever reason or not. So you got to think of it. I used to have this over my office as a reminder. I need to constantly fill things in the funnel in order to actually get to the other side of it. So the first thing we throw in our funnel are our leads that we got. Leads can come from your Facebook ads on command. They can come from friends and family. They can come from people you meet at open houses. They can come from conversations that you have at a gas station. I had an agent that worked for me one time at the other company where I was the sales manager, and she shopped at Kroger's, and every Wednesday at Kroger's was Senior Citizens Day. So Mary Ann would go to Kroger's on Wednesday morning and do her grocery shopping. And she wasn't a senior citizen, but she was a helpful person to senior citizens. She struck up more conversations with people at that Kroger's and got more business out of it. I swear I thought Kroger's was going to start taking a cut of her commission. She was such a regular there. So it's the conversations that we have with people. You got to remember, we're in a people business, and our products just happen to be houses. So we're going to go to page 30. We will, not today, but in the future on Ignite, you're going to have time where you're actually going to make phone calls while we're there. And so just be prepared with your homework. And again, Amy will be sending out links to that as we go through it. Let's see where we are. This is your homework that we're going to ask you to do. So pay attention, focus right now on the screen that we have in front of you. This is your daily 10-4. Your daily 10-4. I don't care how long you've been in the business or if you're new to it. During Ignite, develop a habit. This is your daily homework, your daily 10-4. Daily, we are asking you to add 10 new contacts to your database. 10 new contacts to your database. We want you to speak to 10 people who are currently in your database. And we want you to write 10 handwritten notes. And then once a week, we want you to go to 10 homes and preview them. I know you got some questions around that. So let me think if I can answer the questions that you're probably asking yourself. 10 new contacts added to your database every single day. If you did that 7 days, that's 70 new contacts. And by the end of this course, just think about how many you will have in your database. I shouldn't say this, but if you did 50, isn't that 50 more than you had when you got started? But if you're serious about building your business, I want you to make a game out of this. I want you to get competitive with yourself around this and look for 10 new contacts every single day that you can add to your database. This is just striking up conversation. This is calling people that you know. That one of the scripts that I've heard people use is that I'm in a class, I'm in a course at my office, and we have a contest going on, or I have a contest is with yourself, obviously. And I've been tasked to get 10 new names into my database. Who do you know? I'm going to challenge you to go to your Facebook. I'm going to challenge you to go to your phone and pull out and add 10 a day. It'll be easier in the beginning, and it gets a little harder as this course goes along. Speak to 10 people in your database. Easy conversations. Are you familiar with the FORD, the Ford, FORD? Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Those are 4 topics that everyone enjoys talking about. Everyone likes to talk about themselves. Everyone likes to talk about their family. Everyone likes to talk about the career that they have. Everyone, these are easy topics to get into. And at the end of these topics, you're going to be paying attention and noting changes in people's lives. You go in that 80-20 rule, 80% of the home sales today are caused by people having changes in their lives. It's they've got a new job, they lost their job, they've been laid off from COVID, they've had babies, they've had children go off to college, divorces, marriages, there's empty nesters, there's changes in people's lives. And so if you're paying attention to that, you will notice those conversations. And those are the conversations that you can warm up into careers. Write 10 notes. I mean, how often do you get a little card in the mail? That seems to be the first thing I open, is those little cards in the mail. And so how are we doing on time, Amy? We still have about 40
About
minutes?
40 minutes. Yes.
Okay, great. 10 handwritten notes daily, and then preview 10 homes. Any questions, thoughts around that one?
Linda, I'll speak to the 10 homes because that might be a little confusing for someone, especially newer in the business. This isn't intended to mean that you're taking a client out per se. What we hope for you is that you will go to preview homes for several reasons. One is to give yourself, like, to put your finger on the pulse of the market. You know, what are things going for out there? And, you know, what can you expect when you go into a home, so that when you do start going with clients, you'll be a little bit more comfortable. And if you're going through these homes and you have some questions, like you see an HVAC that looks strange or whatever, take a picture and come back to the market center, or come back to one of us and ask, you know, what is this? We would recommend that you choose a vacant home, so that you're not putting out a seller unless you truly feel like that would be a good fit. You know, another reason for doing this too is that you get ready for when you do maybe get a new buyer, you get a new lead, you can listen to their needs, and you might have already previewed a home for that. And how great would it be if you could say, hey, I've got the perfect home that I've seen. And lastly, this is how we find our shiny pennies. And I know Lucy and Melissa, who've been in Ignite before, you know about my shiny penny. There are many times that there's a house listed on the MLS and there's not great pictures. And you may go to one of those homes, preview it, and see that it's a phenomenal home. And so again, how great would that be to go back to your clients and say, I've got a shiny penny here. I've got something that I don't think many people know about, but this is a great home. So there are many reasons to preview those homes.
Absolutely. That's a good one. Thanks for sharing that. I will tell you, can I share a story? This was early in my career when I was struggling and trying to figure out whether I was even going to stay in this business or not. And I had been out showing property with for one of the agents in the office just to help her out. So I had perused in the same price range. I believe at the time it was like 400,000. This was back in the mid 90s. And I got a call from a lady who saw an ad. Back then we did ads in the paper, and got a call, and she said, tell me about this house that you have listed. We talked, and then I pulled up, because I was familiar with that price range and what was going on. I pulled out 10 properties that I was familiar with, and I wrote notes on each one of those, and I sent them to her, and she said, oh my goodness, my agent, I've been waiting for 2 weeks for this information. And I was able to not only get her business, but her husband's company transferred to Louisville. And I ended up doing, I think, close to 21 homes that year off of that interaction with that person and the follow-up that I did. And as a result, that's when my business took off. So it's being familiar with the homes and the areas that you sell make you an expert in the eyes of others. And so this visiting homes, getting to know homes, getting to know neighborhoods makes you a local expert. Anyway, that always rings home to me. Amy, I'm going to ask you to address the Ignite tracker. You know
Yeah.
more about this than I do, young lady.
Thank you. And this is, a different experience for Ignite. What we've done in the past is we actually track your numbers. And here's what I'm challenging you to do. We have some phenomenal technology. And what we'd like you to do is go ahead and get comfortable putting your contacts into Command. So it's a simple process, and it's the foundation for what all Command can do for your business. The first step is always to get that contact in there. And I'm happy to go over that with you more one-on-one. We have great training. The tech committee meets one-on-one with folks and teaches classes as well. So in this case, we won't have the actual My Tracker. We have Command contacts that we'd like you to get your folks into.
All right. Thank you, Miss Amy. If anybody needs help with that, let us know and we'll be glad to help you with that. All righty. My thing here. Okay. Language of sales, learning scripts. One of the things you're going to be practicing with Krista on every call, I believe it is, leading forward, is learning scripts. We all have scripts. I'm going to give you an example of one that I think you probably have heard. You walk into a department store and somebody walks up to you that works there, and what did they say? Can I help you? What do we say? What is our script? I'm just looking. So we all have these scripts that we've trained ourselves to meet. And in real estate, we can develop good scripts or we can develop bad scripts. Good scripts are ones that have the right word, the language of sales, the things that help people develop. It's not designed to manipulate people to do things they don't want to do. It's helping people get clarity on the decisions that they need to make. And I think that's important to remember, that good scripts help your clients get clarity on making the decisions that they need to make, not manipulating. And so the scripts that you're going to be practicing moving forward are going to help you with that. And okay, the purpose of scripts. A script is 100% customer oriented, and it benefits the customer throughout the entire conversation. Have you ever listened to somebody for a period of time and you realize afterwards that you have no idea what they were even saying? Might have even thought that in the last 30 minutes or so. It happens more than we might care to admit. Moreover, how often do you think we're being clear in our communications only to find out that the person on the side didn't get it at all, didn't understand what we were saying? Communication isn't about what you think you're saying, it's about what they're actually hearing. Scripts allow you to have a rehearsed response that delivers a powerful message in a way that will best understand or ask powerful questions in a way that will be able to quickly share the information you need to better serve them. Scripting is something I'm going to tell you that I wish I had embraced earlier in my career. I think my success would have come sooner. And I hope you embrace that as you go through script and script practicing. The benefits of script gives us the confidence. It helps us feel like we're the expert. It allows us to stay focused and in the moment with our people. Scripting also requires listening. And oftentimes I find people that are scripting or always think about the next thing they're going to say. And you should be listening to learn when you're going through scripting and learning how to script practice, because it's the nuances of what you hear helps you develop better script and script practicing. They also provide consistency in what we say and what we do. Does anybody in here have any what they would consider to be limiting beliefs around script practice? Anyone want to pick up and share around that? Who do you know who do you know that's really good at script practicing? Anyone that you're practicing with that you know is really, really good at it?
I feel like Katie Messenger literally has an answer for everything. So I practice with her every day, and I'm like, and she just always knows what to say. She literally always knows what to say.
She
Yep.
is awesome. She is really good at it. Tell you another one in our office that's really good at it as well is Seamus Green. Has anybody ever script practice with Seamus Green? He is awesome. He gave me a book, and it's sitting on my nightstand. I need to read it. It's about it's something called The Right Words to Say, and it's a small little book. And he said that book has empowered him. In fact, Amy, I'll get a copy of that book or the title of that book, and you can share it to with everyone to get it. It talks about the psychology behind words and what words are powerful and what words are weak. Does that make sense? And so that's a great book. Okay, learning scripts. Learning scripts. It's in order to internalize scripts so that they become your own and they sound natural and friendly, you have to memorize them first. I think this is one of the limiting beliefs that people have around script practicing. I hear this all the time, that they will say, but it doesn't sound like me. I remember coaching a team leader. He said, I am not going to do these scripts. It sounds phony. It is not me. And getting past that limiting belief that it doesn't sound like you and make it become it does sound like you is critical. Whoever mentioned just now about Katie, I guarantee you when you're script practicing with Katie, it sounds like Katie. It doesn't sound like somebody else. It sounds like Katie. It's so in order to make that yours, you have to memorize it first. You have to practice it, and then you get to internalize it. It's a process going from memorizing, practice to internalizing. Internalizing is when you make it yours, when it sounds like you. It sounds like your words, your nuances of how you speak and how you talk. And I think once you get to that, in fact, I know, once you get to that part where you're scripting becomes who you are and sounds like you, but using the powerful words that are in scripts will make it become easier. Who was that spoke up about Katie?
It was me, Taylor Chrisman.
Okay, Taylor. Do you script practice a lot with Katie now, did you say?
Yes, I'm on Bella DeMoro's team, and we do it every morning at 9. Yeah.
Big bonus there.
Yeah.
So we're practicing with Katie with the Bella DeMora team, and how when you first started doing it, was it awkward or just come natural to you?
I would say a little bit of both, because it does kind of stop me when I'm trying to remember what the next line in the script is. And sometimes I have it in front of me, so I'm reading, and sometimes I'm trying to listen to them and be natural. So it's like, it kind of goes back and forth, and I'm just trying to find my pace with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. So in the beginning, what you're saying is you're reading it. I've heard the word reading.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard the word memorizing.
Yeah.
I heard the word practice. And so when you're practicing and reading and memory and you're learning the rhythm, so you're not at a point yet, I'm guessing, but it doesn't sound totally like you, and you don't, what I call, own it in your mind yet. You're still learning it, right?
Yes. I kind of get caught up in trying to respond to what they say, but also stay in line with the script. That's probably the biggest thing I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what are the odds though, if you keep doing this, you're going to be awesome at it, just like Katie was. Katie is.
That's what I'm looking to do, hopefully.
So if Katie were on this call, would she say the very day that she started script practicing, she was awesome at it?
Probably not.
Yeah. So all that to drive home the fact that practicing is critical. And I meant that when I said this. I wish I resisted it so much because I thought it was phony, that I cost myself probably a couple years of success, but that I didn't have as a result of resisting the things that I was uncomfortable with. And so learning how to practice, and I'm going to tell you that you should record them and go back and listen to them, and you will learn more in that than you do in actually doing it at the time, because then you're listening to yourself. Make sense? So how often do you, Taylor, you said that was every morning?
We do script practice at 9 every morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I know Krista is going to do for those that are in Ignite is she's going to be setting you up with some partners to practice as you move forward. And so you'll be hearing from her on that. Your book that you get, that you print out, is going to have a lot of good scripts in them. And so you might want to get those out when you do it. Typically at this time, we turn off the camera, we turn off the microphone, and we let you do some role playing and some script practicing, but we're not going to do that today. This is actually 3 hours worth of courses that we're kind of cramming together here really quick. The next skill that we're going to talk about is, we did that. Okay. Be accountable. Live your calendar. Let me go back. Skill number 4, we missed that somewhere. Okay, skill number 4, it's not on here, so is be accountable to your big why and your monetary goals. It's about taking what we talked about today and putting a plan around it. And so I am going to ask you to take about 5 minutes to do this, and let me explain what you're going to be doing. You're going to develop an action plan based on what you've learned today. So at this point, get a piece of paper out. And here is your action plan. First one is to make a list. First, make a list of all the things in your world that require action or resolution. Everything that is incomplete needs action, whether it's urgent or not, big or small. Now, that's a big thing that they have in the book for you to do. What I'm going to ask you to do is pare that down a little bit. I want you to make a list based on the things that you're hearing today, that you know in your heart and your soul you need to develop and change. Make that list right now. So let's take about 5 minutes and make a list based on what you heard today that you need to work on in order to improve it and build on it. So, got it? Any questions around that? Let's take about 5 minutes to make that list. I feel like we should have music going on during these breaks, Amy. Do, 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 do.
The Jeopardy.
Or not Jeopardy.
some meditation music.
Yeah, there you go. If you're making that list now and you feel like you're done, I'm going to challenge you to add one more thing. I'm going to push you just a little bit harder. Add one more thing right now to that list that you already have written. Okay, beside each one of those things on that list, I want you to write, what do you need to do next? Let's say one of the things on your list might be to practice role play. So what do you have to do next in order for you to accomplish that? Is it find a role play partner? Is it find some scripts? What is the next thing you have to do in order for you to start that into action. So go down through that list and write down beside each one the next thing you have to do in order for you to take that one thing into action. The next thing you're going to write beside it. So you got the thing you need to do. What's the next thing you need to do? And then the third thing you're going to write on that same line on everything is when. When are you going to do it? And then as you go down through that list, I want you to think about, hopefully when we hang up today, that you're going to keep thinking about these things. You're going to keep, get your mind heading in those directions. But the next thing I want you to think about on that list of the what, the next thing you have to do in order for that to happen, and then the when you're going to do something about that, is that action, is those activities in the 80% or the 20%? The 20% are the activities that get 80% of your results. For instance, role playing, Taylor, that you were talking about, that's in that 20% ratio, because that's going to help you get bigger, better results. Right now you're in the learning phase, so learning is in your top 20%. So as you go down through that list, what is going to build you towards success, and is there anything on that list that's going to distract you from success? So be thinking through that. Gary Keller wrote a book called The One Thing. We mentioned that earlier in the book. He said he asked this one question throughout the book, and I want you to write this question down. Get ready. Here it is. What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? And that's the one thing that you should always be focusing on. That if, let's take script practicing as an example. If you made script practicing a higher priority and you learned it on a higher level, wouldn't it make every time you get in front of clients easier and better and far more powerful than if you didn't? And so be thinking about that. Okay, I think we're getting close to the end here. You will be, the other items that you're going to be spending some time on is your calendar. Let me take a few minutes to talk about that, your calendar. We call that the infamous time blocking. There's a saying in bold, if you took bold, that says if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. And so it's important to plan and prepare your success. I want you to get your calendars out, get it out sometime in the next 24 hours. And in fact, today being Monday is a great time to be doing that. Get your calendar out and start going in and writing down appointments with yourself. Appointments that when you're going to lead generate for your future. Times when you're going to work on your business and in your business, two different things. I want you to write down things in there that when are you going to put, what are you going to do every day to get those 10 contacts in your calendar? Put that on your calendar so you don't forget to do that. When are you going to spend time this week previewing 10 houses? Get that on your calendar so you don't forget. Family time, home time, make sure you don't forget the important reasons why you're doing what you do. So we make sure we get that on our schedule. Go ahead and block out when you're going to practice, when you're going to do role play. Practice out, put on there all the other things that are important in your life. I think we've covered most everything in that schedule. And that was a lot that we covered today. So before we close, because we're getting awful close to the end, we've got 15 minutes left. And I think this is when you're going to open up take yourself off mute. And I want you to share some ahas that you got out of today. Start sharing some ahas. All right, who's got an aha? Aha in the Keller Williams world is like, that hit home. I need to work on that. I should work on that. So I learned something today that I didn't know before. So give me some ahas.
I personally have heard that how valuable scripts are, and you can hear that 1,000 times. But then listening to you guys today, just verified that, and it definitely makes me want to make sure I put a lot more focus towards that going forward.
Yay! I'm glad to hear that. Woohoo! Good. Some more ahas.
Lucy?
Yes. I'm glad I'm here, and I've been busy with a few transactions pending, but it's always great to go back to the basics. And I believe that last year I was going strict on those basics, on lead generation, on time blocking, and just doing the work right. And I believe I'm seeing the results of all that work this year. And have been busy with all those transactions. So it's glad to go back to that big why, to go back to that base of adding to the database, practice role playing, lead generating, because I know that that's what gets the work going. So that was my big aha today. Yeah. Going back to the basics really works. And I'm glad I'm here.
Yay. I'm glad you're here too, Lucy.
Thank you.
Some more ahas.
Shelly, it looks like you want to say something.
I feel like I talk too much sometimes, so I try to let other people talk. No, I really did like the consistency piece. I also have a part-time job. I'm a full-time mom, and sometimes it's hard to be consistent because I've got so many things I have to take care of in one day. So that's a better reminder to focus more on the consistency for me.
Good. Good. Glad to hear that. More ahas. Who did the exercise on the big Y and took a picture of it? Who did that?
I see one hand raised, but I don't see all the faces, so I don't know.
I'm trying to get off I'm going to come off here so that I can get up here.
There's a stop share down at the bottom, probably a red one.
Yeah. Oh, look at all those faces. All right. Oh, good. So anyone else want to share something? One last thing? Seth, it's good to see you on there. Sam, it's good to see you on there. Seth, anything you got out of this?
For me, having the big why is kind of something that I've always known about or whatever. But it's good to write it down, have it in front of you, and have it to where you can actually focus on it, to keep you grounded as a foundation, instead of just well, I know this is why I'm doing it, but instead being able to focus on it so that it drives you.
Yeah. Yeah. Putting it on your phone for a while, or it will always be a great reminder when you open up that phone as to why you're doing what you're doing. So thanks for sharing that. Sam, you're kind of new to the Keller Williams world. Did you get an aha out of this?
Yeah, I was actually fixing to say the same thing about posting it to your, as the background on your phone. I thought it's a really good idea to kind of keep you focused and keep you driving forward because of that one thing, one goal for sure. I thought that the honing in on the one thing that I can do that makes everything else easier. And the first thing that comes to mind is just learning to live off of a calendar, I think makes a huge difference. And I'm slowly starting to do that and practice that more and more. So that's definitely been a huge bump in getting me more production and everything else. So.
Yeah. If you think back about, Sam, I'm going to challenge you to think about some of the most successful people you know in the world. Think about some of the most successful people and what are the odds that they did it by flying by the seat of their pants? What were the odds that they were lucky, or did they create the luck?
Right. Absolutely.
So it's that organization and resisting and being willing to challenge yourself to do things that you've resisted doing. On the other side of that is so much more opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
I think I agree with the calendar. That's probably one of the biggest challenges for me. I mean, I wasn't a part of Bold, but the idea that if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist is actually a concept that probably would help me, because I feel like I get distracted by literally like cleaning the house or anything, especially now that we're all working from home. It's like, yeah, anything can pop up in my calendar in my head, but if it's written down and I stay to it, I feel like that would help me a lot. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm the same way.
Who is that? Same way?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so much, we often said that realtors are like cowboys and they're like running, they just, the wild, wild west, they just go tackle it as things are put in front of them. But it's the highly successful ones that learn how to spend their time the most efficient way they possibly can. And that requires systems and models and learning how to do things in such a way that you're focused when you're in the business. So if I could leave you with any thought, it's this: challenge yourself to do things that you don't want to do. Challenge yourself and learn from each and every one of those things. What you don't want to do is probably the very thing that's holding you back. All right, Amy, I'm going to turn it over to you, young lady, so you can wrap it up for us and tell them what's going to happen next in their Ignite world.
All right. So in the chat room, I have put a link to the drive, and